a card. This one's blank, but others have pen on.
They have pen on.
Did you see there's a Lamborghini, a white Lamborghini, where somebody commissioned an artist to draw on it with only a Sharpie, like a mural over the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So it's a guy, like, I think he took over some car place in Miami, took it over from his dad. And I was like, it's like when you have a manager come into an office and they just make everything look different. Look how it's a very common thing. Like, look how much I'm doing, and I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just table from here to there.
Feng
So
Shui,
it's like
game on.
one of those things. I think the round has been restored.
Is it Feng Shui? No.
Feng Shui is just making everything
I guess that is one
aesthetically pleasing, and boom, it seems that we are back into the match. Thank you very much for your patience. The score is 4-3 in favour of Space Soldiers. After losing the pistol round, they have won 4 rounds in a row, and maybe this break is a nice reset for Renegades, who I'm sure felt a little frustrated. It's almost like starting anew, one would imagine. We've got the 4 CZs out for Renegades. That is an eco round for them. If they lose this round, which they probably should, they will be headed to maximum loss bonus. That means they can invest a little more into this round than they otherwise might. Hence the Kevlar, JKS even going for helmets.
Yes, Renegades just charging up now, the Glocks in hands, and CZ, well, actually just CZ, and they will now not have anything in their hands as they are just laying upon the floor. It's not a very productive position, but they'll have to assume that until the next round, which will be now. Always good to see a fast anti-eco rounds. I'm not entertained by these eco rounds, James. I'm unentertained. Entertained? It's been a long day.
Entertainedless.
It's been a long day, and that definitely excuses me for my inability to speak. Although I don't know if there really is an excuse, considering that it's kind of the job. So never mind. 5-3. Space Soldiers, certainly the underdog with their current context. I was playing with a stand-in who has limited Counter-Strike experience at best, but they are doing a valiant job so far, and we'll see Renegades now running a default again. They've had a lot of time to just chill out and cool down from some of the previous failures on their T side, and from what they've shown us, their defaults do develop well and consistently into advantages, so they should be able to get back on the board pretty soon. Space Soldiers still harassing Banana, making sure that Renegades work for it if they are to take it.
Hardstyle still over towards that arch position. As the smoke starts to dissipate, I wonder if he will be targeted. He still is close. And I guess Renegades by now know roughly where people are playing. There's Yusuf blind, and he's gone. Almost a 2-man for Paz, but the one he'll have to settle, as you see. Now, if that was a different player, would he try to get something sneaky in there? I don't know. But Hardstyle's backing off, and Xantares and Calix were ready for the full rotation. But as things start to calm down, they fall back towards B. And that's what I'm talking about. Hardstyle being alive is information that Space Soldiers can try to play off of. Oh, he's moving back, and he rings the bell, but through the wall perhaps, because Az has got 60 HP left. And now they can try to wrap towards B.
Yeah, Xantares has to turn his attention to the back, and if he can find this frag quickly, that is huge. Az just needs to stay alive whilst his teammates come in, so Xantares is occupied, and Xantares will quickly dart around as Calix is put to work with the AK-47. He does a great job, actually. Only one for Xantares to clean up, and now Azza, who was just trying to guard against rotation and create threat, he has to clutch it, 1 versus 2. The bomb is down on the floor, and there's very little time here, and he knows it. He has to dive through the smoke. Xantares and Paz getting it done with the help of Calix on that B-bomb site. And Renegades, again, they had a great opportunity in that round to take it, but Space Soldiers, they're proving to be quite resilient, James. Their money is also out of control.
Yeah, but I mean, there are still 5 rounds to fight for in this half, and I do think that Renegades still need to glean information as to how Space Soldiers are implementing hardstyle and what they can do about it. But they've got good money. There is a tactical timeout here from Renegades. They've mostly got 4,000 and above. Jacob's a bit short, so we'll soon see what they choose to do. But for me, I think it's like, let's get an early advantage by targeting hardstyle. But now Space Soldiers have that information as well, right? They know that Renegades have seen hardstyle alone towards Arch. Do they put a second player there? Do they rotate him? Time will tell. Pistols for Renegades. Do Space Soldiers recognize the likelihood of this? As it is 6 rounds in a row now for Space Soldiers.
It's actually looking, they are looking really, really on point at the moment, I've got to say. Xantares, Paz, Major, and Calix really have some fire to their step in this matchup, and they'll make it as hard as physically possible for Renegades to somehow find their way into victory. And right now that seems so far away, especially now they're just brandishing pistols, but the balcony pop has been pretty reliable for a lot of teams. Paz expectant of this. Quick incendiary to slow things down. He also put down a defensive smoke. That should be helpful as they now try to dive in and pressure his position. Very difficult for Paz here. How much can he get done? My goodness, Justillo finds himself a headshot somehow.
That was not supposed to happen. Hardstyle trying to rotate onto the side to support Major. Takes one in a dome in the meantime. Major's on his own. Calix and Xantares in the arch area. They can cancel the crossfire, and the Deagles continue. Not like this, surely. This is not the round Renegades were supposed to win, but so many smokes, so much variance around that pit position. And Renegades win with 4 players alive. That was an eco, and that was a half buy.
Yeah, and that's problematic too, because, okay, if they win that round, sure. But, if they survive with that many players, they effectively have 2 buys in the hole now. So Space Soldier's ability to reset them straight away is not really there. But they have a huge bank themselves, so double up comes out from Calix and Paz into this next round, and it would be great to see some aggression from Space Soldiers. They've been fairly passive mostly in this game so far, and Paz is going to go for a, well, not a deep angle, fairly passive to begin with. Commonly see this boost, which we'll deal with. It's a double peak, a strong double peak if the CTs are to try to push quickly down Banana, but that will not be the case. Double Ops has Space Soldiers wanting to play at range.
Now, we can see that Paz has taken up the reins on Arch, and Hardstyle is playing outside of the graveyard position / on the site. So they are rotating his position, and indeed, as I keep going on about, I do think that is something that is important for them to do. 2 players towards Arch now, so it seems that Space Soldiers, they've often rotated a 4th player towards A, as teams often do, but I think they are anticipating Renegades heading towards Arch. But for now, Calix, I was going to say has some action, but indeed they are just trying to bait Space Soldiers towards the B bomb site. Will they perhaps boost over this arch smoke? Not a common one. Xantares will stay in the corner. Paz going back to the site. JKS lurking in the balcony. Towards the balcony, rather. And here we go. It seems Renegades are dead set on the A bomb site, and 4 CTs lie in wait.
That's Major looking to anchor on the pit. Paz kicking things off quite well here, and Major just follow the shadow down, only good for 1, however. Hardstyle alone in the bomb site now. Paz needs to help him out here with the AWP. Good juking coming in from Jacob as Hardstyle now is against too many man. That's just stuck in my head right now. Calix on the 1v3. I don't know that he wants to go for this.
Major has 7,400. Hardstyle's got no money. Paz has got no money. That means that Calix has to hold on to this weapon. He needs to back off. Maybe he was aiming to fall off with an easy-ish frag. It's unfortunate for Space Soldiers. I think Hardstyle was in a position to stop a default plant if desperation came in, but the bomb was in the middle of the A bomb site, and didn't quite work out there for Space Soldiers. So those are 2 expensive rounds for them. And obviously they do need to rack up the rounds here on this CT side to make life easier on the T side, but maybe life will be easier in general on the T side. It's hard to say, but we will soon find out. Round number 5 for Renegade, 2nd in a row.
So some breaking news here, James, because we are warriors against misinformation.
Okay.
Right, so... Although I suppose we probably spread more than we... Either way, apparently I got tweeted from Alan Brown. Freezing jeans to clean is not only a myth, it's gross.
Well, if you put jeans in the freezer, it's not a myth, because your jeans are in the freezer.
Well, the fact that
cleaning them.
Well, the fact
perhaps.
that it's supposedly supposed to in some way clean them, which does sound.
I guess on a basic level, in like a warm, moist environment, bacteria can thrive. So I guess they're like, well, what if we do the opposite? Maybe it doesn't quite work out, but sometimes placebo is enough. QAWPs for Space Soldiers.
Heavy placebo.
As we continue here on Inferno, Xantares and Calix at the top of Banana, Hardstyle and Paz towards Arch. What will the approach be towards Banana? The late Molotov, Xantares having a look, really wants to use his skill to give his team an early advantage, and they need one. Hardstyle only with the CZ. Jacob's lost half his life as 3 players established control of Banana for Renegades.
I wonder if there was info from the peak as Xantares calling that it's logs, because I saw Calix trying to wallbang that with that AWP straight away afterwards. That would be really cool. But Renegades mostly untouched in this round. Only Jacob to take any damage. 1 minute to go, and this is ideal for Renegades. This default, they've got top mid control, they've got banana control as well. That puts Space Soldiers in a position where they have zero information on the map. They do not know what Renegades are up to or what is possible. They are just sitting and relying on Calyx here. The flashbang is pretty strong. He has to fall back, and a frag towards A. This is horribly confusing for Space Soldiers.
35 seconds left. Can they make it hard here for Renegades? JK is lurking towards the A site, and Azza and Usilo instantly start rotating, and it seems the rest of Renegades will as well. Now, Space Soldiers have essentially stacked the B bomb site. Once that bomb is plantarized, I do not expect a rotation. 5 plays alive for Renegades, and it would be a big save. Jacob knows this as well, so he will stay towards B and offer some containment. And I do expect the hunt to begin for Renegades. Try and take all the toys away for Space Soldiers. As they're moving up, Bananas to join Jacob. Just taken up before Xantares can fire the shot. That's a fair confirmation. 2 of the 3 players known. Well then, 6-6. I mean, for a reasonable chance in the second half, it's not... I mean, we can't really say too accurately, but how many rounds do you think Space Soldiers need?
They need every round, James.
I think that's a good answer, to be honest.
I think, so what is interesting is that Space Soldiers were able to get so many rounds despite losing the pistol, and I don't know if I expect them to get any rounds from this point, just because, again, this last round gone was a very good example of exactly what I expected to see consistently out of Renegades. It's this default where you take map control away, you take banana, you take top mid, and then at that point you've starved your opponent of any information, and so it creates huge possibilities for you to toy with them, to fake, to create picks, all kinds of stuff, because they're pressured to go for risks, and that's a consistent way to get advantages on the T side, and that's what Renegades get for being the team that does not have the stand-in and the team that has a lot of experience, so they can just keep doing that.
Space Soldiers still with a buy. Hardstyle's got an upgrade from a CZ to an MP9. They've got that moving accuracy, and he is over towards the arch position on his own. The 4.5-man default here for Space Soldiers, if you will. Charging out, and Xantares pulls this gun out just in time, but a flying JK as the parkour will maybe help him save. Hardstyle really going for a Hardstyle, and he will be absolutely denied. And that is the round for Renegades. It's a quick one.
Yeah, it's you can see that they've definitely found themselves after. I mean, this is the crazy thing, is that after the pistol victory, you would have expected that they should be able to take 12 rounds here, around, or if not more, against Space Soldiers. But I think the quality of Space Soldiers, they had that first win. I believe it was a very confusing round for Renegades where there was a lot of pushing. I think it was Paz or Major who managed to push into second mid and get a flank on, and then the following rounds were just Space Soldiers leveraging their individual skill, then picking up the anti-ecos. But Renegades are the team here, and there's no mistaking that. The question really is it easier or harder for Space Soldiers on the T-half? I actually would think it'd be easier for them on the T-half with the stand-in.
Yeah, I do wonder. Again, I think it's about how you choose to implement the man on both sides. Tactical timeout from Space Soldiers. Again, trying to protect him on the CT side, and I think they've done a reasonable job. However, Renegades seem to have found the key to the puzzle with 4 rounds in a row now.
Yeah, I just think that he is unfortunately with his current situation, he's very limiting on the setups that Space Soldiers can run and some of the risks that they can take. But in that T side, you don't really have to worry about it. You can just say, well, you know what, Xantares and Paz Major, you guys just do your thing, open up the rounds in the ways in which you want to, and Hardstyle can just be very supportive.
Yeah, but it's weird because depending on what part of the round you're in, that support role can be very important as well. I wouldn't say that you could necessarily necessarily have him lurking, for example.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, maybe he throws the initial grenades for you to move in with, or at least set up some smoke grenades. But then, I don't know, just run boost him every round.
Yeah, and
then charge out as he flies across the screen, taking all the fire.
And also, you can't afford actually like a missed flash, because then that's an alt frag maybe for the other team on an entry and stuff like that. So it does get complicated. In a professional match, you need to know all the lineups.
Space Soldiers still managing to get guys out despite losing these consecutive rounds. Saves so important. And now Renegades getting a lot of control early on Banana. And this has been a common occurrence, to establish control here and then have a focus towards that A bomb site. But it seems to want to deny information. Hardstyle moving towards the top of mid. Ooh, how about this for a response? Well, let's take the game away from Renegades. The CTs won't even invest behind it just in case, and Jacob is boosted up, and here's another grenade. Calix starting to walk in, and Jacob looks down at the wrong time, jumps up, and that timing is horrible for him. But how could he know?
Yeah, that's really cool to see from Calix. They are in a situation where they do have to make plays. You can't just sit back passively and wait, and that's going to give them a decisive advantage as much as they can have in this position. And now he's stuck behind the smoke and the flashbang. Xantares isolated on the site. He's got to do it by himself. That's a good start. Can't find anything else though, but there is space here. No smoke down to prevent Calix from finding vision. And there is the smoke. But they have construction, so they can mount the retake. My God, Hardstyle going in with the MP9, James.
Let's go, Hardstyle. Major keeping an eye on Banana where Nifty is. Meanwhile, Yusilo's putting in damage. 2 kills for him. Could find a third on Major, but the coffin will betray him, and Renegades have been eliminated in this round. Space Soldiers will tie the score 7-7. AWP in tow, and perhaps Major can pick up a K. Indeed, there is one lying for him. They'll move around, run over the bodies, make sure if there's any grenades to collect. They can do that because every little helps. We move in to the last round of the first half, 7-7. And we've spoken about Space Soldiers a lot, but from the Renegades' point of view, 7 rounds for Space Soldiers is surely too many.
It's a big deal, especially because they won the pistol. I would love to see Space Soldiers with an AWP setup in the apartments in this round, like the passive one around the balcony. Because I think, Renegades, will they just hammer B again, or are they going to go A? You have to take some risks and just try to have a setup that deals with that. So we're going to see a very fast timing here. Oh, actually, they start walking. Okay, well, they're just going up mid. What is the play here for Space Soldiers? Very default stuff from them. So passive, all the way back in the bomb site. Hardstyle's in trouble here. He will get smoked off. He'll stay alive, and Paz will start things off there. The kill on Yusillo. Oh, they line up. Some tapping coming in from Major. How much can he get? He'll eventually go down to Jake, and as Xantares has a fantastic angle. Perhaps he can still save the day. Oh, he can't find it onto Jacob though. That's a problem.
Calix with an AWP is their weapon to collect. I mean, if he picks one up now, he will concede his position immediately, but he might have to pick one up, because how does he avoid getting traded? Walking in with a scope, and this is a long journey, but the smoke is down. This is the last round. He's got to go for it. Sees a rifle at his feet, but it's only a FAMAS. Maybe there's more around this corner. Got to be quick. The weapon is dropped. Got to go fast. Going for Graveyard. Nobody there. That bomb is very ticked. And Nifty will end the round for an 8-7 lead in favor of Renegades.
I kind of like the setup there at the end. When you know you have time to have a post-plant setup and you have 2 players left, the very common thing that people do is they'll put one on the box in the corner of the site, and they'll play a sort of crossfire situation with someone in pits, which I think that was what was expected from Calix. So playing against that expectation, mixing up the common setup, and Nifty, he just got the headshot immediately, so didn't even really come into play. But you're right, 7 rounds to Space Soldiers is incredible. In this game, this is the first pistol that they've lost so far in the tournament, so if they're able to stay consistent and win this pistol, Space Soldiers have a really good opportunity to make a really good T side of this. What if Renegades get into that reset hell on their CT economy? This can go wrong for them. It can.
So many questions. so many questions.
Yeah, such as why did you use a plural with a lack of pluralization?
Yeah, that's a question too, Dan.
That's all, they're all questions.
Major and Hardstyle. So he will be the grenade man. No P2 Fiddies for the Space Soldiers team. 3 of the 5 players with Kevlar. All Kevlar for Renegades. Perhaps not expecting this one to go the distance, this pistol round. 3 towards B for Renegades. JKS, Azza and Jacob. Space Soldiers seem to be fixated on the A bomb site for the time being. Ustillo and Nifty will be in the pit. And I do wonder if one goes down, if the other will show immediately or try to use the element of surprise of a silenced M4 to pick off a few players. Jacob's starting to wonder what's going on Banana. Having a look from the corner, and as they're starting to move maybe into a rotation position, although there's no eyes towards Arch, so Hazard doesn't know if there's a potential wrap coming in, which is why he's in construction right now. So let's see, Renegades obviously have put themselves in this position, so how are they going to deal with it? Initial grenades sailing in. Where will these smokes go?
Over there. In front of that haystack. We'll see the harassment start to be shown into that bomb site as Nifty gets tagged down pretty low. He can't do anything. He's still in a horrible position here. This is very difficult. Only one, as the T's will stream into the bomb site and easily get the bomb planted. 3 players on the retake mission for Renegades, and they are fairly spread out, so that could work to their benefit. But I don't know. There's 4 players in good play positions here for Space Soldiers. That's a good start, though.
There's no kit. They can't take too long. Free kill for Major. Uses that man advantage as bait, and it works out for him. Checking with some pre-fire, but they don't need to fatally engage him now. And he's going to save his Kevlar. He has not taken any damage, which means he can buy a helmet for 350 if he wants one. Or maybe he wants a kill instead. But I think the 650 of the Kevlar has for higher value than the 300 for a kill, but there we are. Just the round goes with Space Soldiers. Now, when you saw that smoke wall on the short position, there were 2 players on the short. One of them was spamming the Glock, and I think he was trying to cover the footsteps of the players running on Arch, because obviously if you fire your pistol that fast, it's going to be inaccurate, whether you're taking pot shots through the smoke or not. 3 MAC-10s in this second round for Space Soldiers and the 2 AK-47s. We could see a pair of grenades glide through the air here for Renegades. Azza and JKS will be carrying those. Azza, though, is on A on his own, and JKS is on B with the remainder of the Renegades.
Oh, this HE. Oh, that was a bit too late, I think. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was actually bang on
value.
Yeah, oh my god, so much damage from that one player. No kills, though, which might make things, obviously it's very misleading. So Space Soldiers pick the right bomb site, and they'll get themselves a free plant. Here you can see them wrapping the A bomb site. It's a very effective way to take that bomb site. It completely destabilizes any positions the CTs might have on the site itself, and in pit as well. And the pit and the bomb sites defensive positions for the CTs are really strong if you're just running through quad, because they get an inherent crossfire, which is very, very useful. But this is Space Soldiers losing 0 players, at least at this point, unless someone dies to the bomb, on their first anti-eco round. And I like that Renegades decided not to go for a force buy. They just bought some CZs. They left money in the hole. That's them saying, look, we really think that our buy rounds are very strong and that we're so much in advantage there that we want to get to the best buy round possible as soon as possible.
Kaboom. Space Soldiers in the lead once again, but how long will it last? This is still a dangerous round for Space Soldiers, which is the value in, okay, you stacked one site, and most of you survived. Rather than running back to A and playing for exits maybe, or pushing and dying, you can use all these weapons for basically a repeat of the previous rounds now. Maybe they even stack the B bomb sites again, or do something else, we'll see, but those CZ-75s are very dangerous, and JKS still has his HE grenade. If he can have the success that Azza had with that grenade, and they can follow it up with these pistols, then that could be a round to win.
Or maybe it's a round in the bin, as we have a multitude of players rushing. Hardstyle getting his MAC-10 game on, and it is a wipeout there. Nifty is the last man standing, and he's not going to have too much play, I don't think, with this USP. He's going to be just chilling with the chickens.
Hardstyle clearing everything, because this will feel dangerous because of the damage taken by Space Soldiers. They are vulnerable, but Nifty is just enjoying some music here. He's just chilling out. He's like, the game starts next round, let's just chill out with these tunes, Maybe got his air guitar game on. I miss, just to the left of here, you used to be able to stand in between the wall and the APC on Old Inferno, and you can't do that anymore. It's a nice hidey hole. But now it's gone. It's all changed here on Inferno. I still remember those smoke grenades people would throw from CT spawn all the way over mid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I learned quite a few of those as well back in the days. It really, it's so abusive, isn't it? It's like, it just feels like so...
It was a lot.
I can smoke the other side of the map from my spawn, that's great.
And then the Molotovs, which would be thrown on the roof to stop the grenade from bouncing off in a certain place to do its job, and then the grenade would need to be repositioned and so on and so forth. How times have changed. 2 MAC-10s will continue for Space Soldiers, and only 2 players for Renegades have helmets. What does that mean? That means that they can get one shot by those MAC-10s. Running accuracy will be a problem should Space Soldiers get close enough. Nifty with the D-Law on top mids. 3 players starting on Banana for Renegade standard stuff, and as Azza and Jacob start to head towards A.
So Renegades have some decent positions now. They've worked out what's going on. They got the 1-4 split, and Space Soldiers, are they going to try to go back? I don't think that it's wise. Hardstyle is just covering for the flank, so I don't think it's so. Yeah, they're going to just channel through that quad position. This is what I was talking about. These crossfires can be dangerous. That's why they throw the smoke down from him, but it's just not helping. Azza's just murdering them one by one, and they had to hit their entries. Hardstyle's in there though, doing what he can. What else can he get from this position? Let's see what... It's all about the damage. An extra frag would be great, but I will go down. And... I mean, it's a simple round, James. They just throw the smoke to deny the crossfire from pit to the site, and they just try to isolate the site player, but you have to get the frag. You've got to get the frag.
Yeah, Azza dancing around the pillars, and when the first player gives the information for Azza, but his teammate comes to join him and has the initial peek, that can really win you around that spot right there. 9 to 10 from the Renegades perspective, and they have 2 AK-47s now. They are well equipped, as are Space Soldiers. Hardstyle will continue with the MAC-10, but he's no stranger to SMGs in this tournament so far. JKS and Jacob securing Banana, although Xantares is in a forward position, holding a smoke in case more Molotovs were to come.
Indeed.
There we go.
Tough ask, isn't it?
This is smoking that Molotov probably makes Renegades wonder if there's a push. Look how many grenades have been invested on Banana by both teams with a minute 20 on the clock, and Xantares looking for the raw peak, but that smoke may save Jacob and allow him safe passage back. So we've spoken about teams and grenades and how much they have at the minute 10 mark, and we've seen some teams with like 4 grenades. Right now Renegades only have 1. Although I think 1 was just used at top mid, so that's a good start from Space Soldiers, but it's about how you finish. Yeah,
and it's very smart for them just to commit to be here. There's a small window of timing, which they're still in, where the attack makes a lot of sense. Hardstyle will go in first with the MAC-10. He'll be the first to die there. There's no direct trade, but it's Paz in with it. It's just scooting on by, and a 3v3 after plant. This round is worth 2.
3v3, but they don't have position. Calix tries to get some, and Nifty says no. You still have an Azza still rotating and maybe looking for a lurker behind them, but there is none. Major on Banana and Paz in the corner. There are 2 Molotovs for Renegades, so he could be in trouble. Paz, he may have to force his way forwards and frag out. How deep will it go? Oh, he's got to run all the way through it again. Looking to his left now. He didn't see the gun. He did see the gun, but it was too late to go back. Major will not get the frag. He moves first and misses it. Goes back again. Gets the headshot, but the bomb's being defused. They will lose everything, Space Soldiers, and Renegades will tie the score.
Yeah, that's a big win for Renegades there. The bomb going down is a small consolation, and there's a world where they can actually buy here. 3 players can actually afford to buy. If Xantares opts to drop an AK, I think he can also do that. I'm not sure if he was able to do that or not. He had $5,700. But, okay, no, so we can, of course. My math game is not on point, but that's fine. Hardstyle on the MAC-10. The 4 AKs here for the rest of Space Soldiers. An okay amount of grenades. It's not perfect, but it's the T side. You can tailor it around to your limitations and mitigate them.
So many flames. Space Soldiers don't want to allow Renegades to get into a comfortable position on Banana, hence the Molotov on the car, especially when they've got Nifty in tow. You don't want him on the car position with a sniper rifle. 3 players still here for Renegades. Santares now is in trouble. He could get double picked by these CTs. There's the wide peek and the trade from Nifty. The sandbag player not even needed. That smoke grenade may stop further assault from Space Soldiers, because if they had carried on, I do wonder if they would have even checked for Jacob's position after seeing 2 CTs on the corner. But here we are, 4 on 4 with a minute on the clock.
The crouch peek coming in. High flash for Azza. He is going to go for a peek here. He got blinded there as well. So they're having to slow things down using the reposition and the incendiary to do that. Looking to see what else he can get from this. They'll jump up high and they'll be subject to JChem from the side with the M4, and Paz is now alone, and there's not too much he can do from this position. And it looks like they have to give this one up. 18 HP. Can he get an extra kill? No, he cannot. 11 rounds for Renegades. They'll take the lead. And we may have seen the best of Space Soldiers in this matchup may have come and gone now at this point, James, because now Renegades start to move to a comfortable position.
Yeah, it's a noble effort, what we're seeing from Space Soldiers. They're trying to force the issue on Banana, and then like, okay, the longer I think Space Soldiers realize that the longer they play out the rounds, the more difficult it's going to get for them to win the round, especially when Zantares goes down immediately. Such an important player for the team, so they're trying to consolidate, trying to do the best they can in a very difficult situation. So at disadvantage, Renegades, who do not fear the aggression in this round, they know that Space Soldiers are ill-equipped, and that's a nice tap from Azza. I think it may have been the last bullet, yeah, so...
Oh, hello. Yeah, it's very difficult. I think you're right. You know, you want to... The shorter the round, the less decisions made. The longer the round, the more decisions made, and obviously, if you're not in a spot where you have all 5 players on board, it makes it more difficult. And they've been trying to find that value, like by fighting on Banana, and there are those rounds where you can, you somehow get those instant 2 kills, and you just win a round off of the back of that on Banana. But it's usually only happens like once a match. Especially at this level, it's decreasing rapidly, the amount of times that happens. People are much more careful, and the amount of grenades used prevents those rush timings. Alright, so Space Soldiers back on a, well, close to a full buy. I mean, I don't think it'll ever be a full buy. I think we'll mostly see hardstyle on the Mac 10. Here's the stand-in. And for those of you just joining us, to add some context to this game, it is an elimination match. The loser of this best of 1 will be out of the major.
That could have done a hell of a lot more than it did. Having a quick look at Zantares as he goes past before the smoke goes down. Ever the opportunist, but none was provided on that occasion. Space Soldiers maybe looking to burst into the pit area, as we've got 3 players in apartments, although... Well, let's have a look. We've got a smoke down, and Major's going to be the first one out. Still on the balcony, the flash hits, and then standing on his head. And there goes Hardstyle, but the trades are finally there. 2 for 2, Jack with another frag, but he can't hold the advantage for his team. Now it's a long rotation for Nifty, but JKS is close. We've got 4 smokes on the A sites at the moment, but soon they will be gone.
A dangerous duo, Calix and Zantares, back at it again in the 2v2 post-plant. Calix looking for the next player. Does he have a good idea of JKS's position? Seems like he's suspicious. Obviously, only so many angles he's covering for from that position. All spots ahead. Nifty is lucky to keep his head on his shoulders, but Zantares it now falls to him to make this one work, as he is expectant, and he can't do it. The spray, the compensation, pulling down, it doesn't work out for Zantares. They'll get a bomb down, and they will have enough to buy the next round, but most importantly, what they will not have is the rounds.
A reminder, the loser of this match will be eliminated. Renegades 3 rounds away from survival. That's got to be yeah, you can see it's a frustrating one. They'll feel like this is one of the best situations we have been in of late, but no. Renegades able to survive. And for Renegades, I mean, again, it's hard not to focus on Space Soldiers because of the dire straits of their situation, but for Renegades, they're like, guys, we're close to being eliminated from the from the major. They've got 4 of their team, and a guy who basically doesn't play CS, and we're only 3 rounds ahead. We've got to close this out now. We can't let them back into it. I mean, going back to that previous eco round from Space Soldiers, they got 1 frag, but there was an opportunity to keep the money honest of Renegades. At this point, Nifty has $8,000. Same can't be said for his team. It does vary, but it's something to keep an eye on.
Very tense stuff. Space Soldiers now with the delayed take of Banana. Xantares leading the charge. The man you want. Space Soldiers, you know, with their full lineup, an incredibly bright and promising up-and-coming team, has shown a lot of good things. I think that's why it's a sad storyline for many. And their heroic efforts here, desperately doing what they can to stay in, dealing with the hand they've been dealt. That is the mark of a professional. How well can you perform when it all goes wrong? Nifty waits with the AWP, feeling that top mid take, but it's going to be a B play here. So this pressure on A is going to delay that rotation to help these B players. And this contact from Xantares. Can he open things up? No, he can't. Jaken stops him. And now they likely know what's going on.
Play through the smoke on the B bomb site, but there's only 1 kill, and now Paz is on his own. As is JKS for the time being. He's got to find a kill. JKS, if he stays alive, the bomb can't be planted. A wider peek and a crouch peek, and that is the run for Renegades, and that has to be a weight off the shoulders of the Renegade side now. A very comfortable position where Space Soldiers, they're going to force it up here. They can get some rifles out on the likes of Calix and Hardstyle, and they've taken a tactical timeout. But I mean, how much is there to discuss? They need to just find opportunity. They're trying to brute force their way into one of these sites, but Renegades have been able to survive for the time being.
Yeah, I think the idea of that round is really, really cool. You know, running the fake is effectively just trying to keep that pressure up on A and then running contact into B is a great idea, especially, you know, having Xantares as the leader of the fragging situation and the entry situation on the B bomber side. But he just couldn't get the first kill, and that's all you really have to do. You get that first kill, your teammate then trades you onto the second defender, and then you get a bomb down as your teammates rotate back from A. That's a great round. It's a good basic, but it just comes down to the execution. You can't always get it, and they are running out of chances here. They have effectively 2 more chances to try to get themselves back in this one. Still sporting a max loss bonus of $3,400 as well.
Nifty and Ustillo in the apartments, maybe expecting some fate in that direction. A very fast run. Paz with the Mac 10. That was a cheeky one. It's a good start for Space Soldiers and a much needed one, but will they choose to capitalize on this? And by this point, are Renegades expecting that? Shaken rotating back towards the B bomb site. And Space Soldiers may realize that these actions have been telegraphed and they have not been successful. So they will slow things down and try to thin out the defenses of Renegades. Will Renegades keep a 3-1 setup, or will they go 2-2? Either way, there's a reasonable chance, I mean 50-50 chance I guess, that Space Soldiers have a numbers advantage when they push into a site. As we can see on the radar, Jacob's slowly moving back now. Azza has vision of top mid, so they can't wrap through Arch. They will go for a 2-2, but As is on his own, it's going to be hard for them to trade, and Nifty maybe realising that is moving towards first position. He's good for 2, and he thinks a third one. He's done massive damage, Azza.
That is a problem, yeah. He did so much for his team. Can Nifty close it down? No! Doesn't suspect Major's position. Managed to go through a blind spot to find that frag, and that gives a renewed chance in this round for the likes of Space Soldiers. Renegades, they're in trouble here. It's a very long rotation from JKS. He's going all the way around the apartments. And they don't really have time for this. Their money is not in the worst place ever.
I do wonder if JKS will try to eliminate some of Space Soldiers. With Paz on a Mac 10 getting a frag in the apartments, they know that the money is tight for Space Soldiers. Now, Renegades, let's see, we've got Nifty on $10,000, Azza on 55, so there's a decision to be made here. JKS on 7, but it seems he will just hang back. Now, if Renegades were in a better situation to go for it in that round, you saw Major in the pit. He was about to throw a smoke grenade. but the team had the comms. They had the clear comms that there was a smoke going down on Arch. Now, you see many situations where two people will smoke off the same thing in a panic, and if they did go for that smoke grenade could have been the difference to send Renegades away. There's only 3 rounds between these two sides.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, beyond the pistol, let's just say that's basically the first round Space Soldiers have won for all intents and purposes. That doesn't bode well for them, but the pressure is still there for Renegades.
Yeah, and they're always dangerous. I mean, again, we just know the quality. It just takes 2 decisive entry frags from the likes of any of the Space Soldiers players, really, that we know to be so good. And the ground that you can gain so quickly off the back of that can be a huge difference maker. Oh, that is a nasty grenade. Wow. Okay, that's big. That was Azza again.
That's over 100 damage, I think.
It is, yeah. That's massive. And it's on Xantares and Calyx as well, the 2 players you really don't want it to...
That's where you want your grenade to land.
Yeah.
The bad apple in the joint basket. So we have perhaps a burst play. Top mid. Okay. So this is how you line it up, people. When you're playing on Inferno, get that burst, a flashbang, and allow your teammates to swarm up top mid. But they may need to do more than this to really deny the information, because Renegades could go back. Major taken down. Bomb needs to be collected. Hardstyle and Paz charging through. So Hardstyle basically in the entry role now. Azza doesn't have the smoke on the site. Alex running in on his own. And Xantares is a while behind, but Hardstyle there, not only getting a frag with the Mac-10, but running distraction for Xantares to clean up the pit as well.
Yeah, that's an enormous frag. That trade had to happen. It's a 3v3 afterplant now, and this is a very doable round for Space Soldiers. This is pretty tough. If Renegades lose a player quickly, they may have to make a decision, a hard choice to save.
And look at their money as well. If they save with these 3 players alive, then they've got a good buy in the next round. If they commit to this, then who the hell knows? They haven't gone past the point of no return, and maybe the dead players on their team looking at the scoreboard realize that and say, guys, if we lose everything here, we're not in a good spot.
Wow. This is really, it's really interesting. They should have likely 2 full buys if things start to go wrong. Space Soldiers 2 round away now, and again, we've been. I just want to make it clear, Space Soldiers are a massive underdog, and obviously there's a lot of people rooting for them just because of the context that they have, and also a lot of people, putting it into context that Renegades should be winning this game. And Space Soldiers fighting as hard as they can to make that not happen. And this is an elimination match too. This is just pretty crazy.
And I mean, even though Space Soldiers, they're unable to play their proper tactics because they have 4 of their 5 players, but they're still a very dangerous squad. So it's not like they should be winning 16-2. Now we've got a massive exchange. It's the Mac-10. There goes JKS as well, but there's one more player here. Will they realize? So much time on the clock. Surely they clear the site. Run into the site with the bomb in your hand, and I think Xantares actually did run into the site with bomb in his hands, but Calyx is there to trade, and surely that is safe territory. They've got that AWP, very important.
Wow.
And you know what this reminds me of? There was, I used to play poker in London, like almost everywhere I played, the place got shut down because it's kind of borderline illegal. Anyway, there was this this woman who wasn't the best poker player in the world, but she qualified for the World Series of Poker, and she was like, she couldn't outplay the people she was against, and she went deep. She made some money, but when someone played against her, she would just go all in or fold. That was it. It's let's not play the game. It's everything or it's nothing, and it's everything for Space Soldiers. Up banana with the Mac-10.
That's how I played poker as well, James. Basically. So I basically mentioned this. I said, usually one round of T-side Inferno, you can expect to see around like that, where you get 2 instant kills and just win the round off of it on banana. And it's a timing thing. Sometimes the timing just doesn't work out in the spot where the T side decides to have a really good, the push, and they have really good spawns. So that's a gift. That's a gift from above for Space Soldiers. That the stars aligned to let that timing be so savage.
Yeah, if you have a spawn to make a play like that, at least for those of you guys at home, I love that play. Just the running accuracy, the Mac-10, get the flashes there, go for it. Go for it. Now, Renegades, what do you do how do you approach the beginning of the round? Does that make you play more passively towards Banana? Do you then give up the real estate? Because when we saw the Space Soldiers money become short on Space Soldiers' CT side, they had to play less aggressive on Banana, and Renegades really abused the early map control. So are they going to play their own game, Renegades, or will they be conditioned into a safer scenario because of plays like that from Space Soldiers?
I hope that Renegades can just sort of keep it together and just try to just play round for round here, because the pressure has to be mounting in a pretty real way right now, because those thoughts that it's starting to go wrong could be creeping into the back of your mind, and that could affect how you play, and you can't be doing that. Right now, Space Soldiers are going for broke. Another big push on Banana here. Santaris leads the charge. That is a stunning shot to enter this area, and Hardstyle follows up with the second one. Nifty, though, to drop Hardstyle. Right now, Renegades know. Oh my god, Paz! How on earth did he manage to find that one? A 3 versus 2. They have no money, James. Do they go for this? They have a round loss bonus, but they can't go for it. 14-14, Space Soldiers tied up.
Oh my god.
Renegades money on the ropes.
That was absolutely insane. Hardstyle coming around the corner like he's Sylvester Stallone or something, but he's carrying the bomb as well. So many implications. Paz jumping past the corner on his own. If he goes down, there's no trade. There was no trade for Hardstyle, just flying in there with the headshot as the smoke blooms as well. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And Renegades knew to put 3 players on Banana for the eventuality that Space Soldiers don't have a lot of good options with their T side, and that's become clear across this half. The rounds that they've had to win have just been so clutch, mostly, and just trade-based and in chaos. You can't rush Banana every single round. So what do Space Soldiers do next? That's a really big question, and I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't think there is a good answer to it.
Can they really do this? Hardstyle. Oh no,
nice.
it was Zantares.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh no, you did get one. Okay, nice. There we go.
That
Paz,
is crazy.
That is like, if he doesn't get that kill, they probably lose the game.
Paz the man.
We have another timeout from Renegades, their second last tactical timeout. Now, Nifty had about $7,500 at the beginning of this round, so drops are able to be made, but of course having to drop 2 guns means very light on grenades for him. So Nifty and JKS, well, JKS has, okay, he's got money in the bank actually, so let's see how well equipped they are. They'll have most of what they want apart from that AWP, but you start to wonder if this can actually happen.
No, that is really, that's a hard thing to imagine. That would be so crushing for Renegades if they were to concede this. They look calm, but the question is, are they still communicating in the right way? Are they still making decisions in game in the right way? That we'll see on the server as things begin here now. 2-3 setup. Space Soldiers going hard and fast up that Banana position once again. Just charging, looking for a good timing. JKM forced back. Paz finishes him off with a Mac 10. JKS at the back of the site. The flames will get Paz. It will slow them down, but can JKS hold?
Now, do we have Hardstyle going wide? We do. Calix and Zantares, that is a nasty trio. They know this one's going to be it. There's a flashbang from a teammate. JKS, he's on fire, but he's still alive, and he just needs to stay alive, and this scenario becomes worse and worse for Space Soldiers. They have the money if they lose this round, but they don't want to lose this round. JKS still alive at the back. Zantares, he can't see through the flames. Finally he can. There's the spray. 2 on 2. Both the CTs here, but not on the site just yet. Smokes it down. 2 Molotovs for the T side. Nifty with an off angle. But one can be thrown over there. They know the site is clear now. Nifty firing a shot. He gave his position away, and Zantares will rip his face off. We are so close to match point, but where is Ustillo? His position is surely unknown. But there are 45 seconds on the clock, and it seems that Space Soldier's going to back off. They know Ustillo has to be on the site. And there it is. Zantares again with a giant headshot. It's match point, Space Soldiers.
Zantares, the hero Space Soldiers need. My god. Are they actually making this happen? What a desperate spray. What a desperate situation. They were stuck in pool. They couldn't move. There were Molotovs all over the place. It looked like they'd lost all momentum, but somehow they managed to start the engine back up once again, and they pull it through to a round victory. And right now, Renegades, they could be having some PTSD moments right here, because this is not the way you want to go out of a major if you're in their position, but it could be happening.
Cannot believe that I am watching this right now. I cannot believe that Space Soldiers are the first to match point. This is surreal.
Okay, and add up the fact that Renegade's buy absolutely sucks. And there are some problems here. What on earth do you do in that position? Surely, there's no good answer for this.
Man, like hardstyle.
2 M4s, a UMP, a FAMAS, and an MP9. That does not summon confidence in me.
This is, even if they are to win this match, if this is the only match they win, it would be so awesome a story. Major with a giant opportunity with the AWP, and you do wonder if nerves are settling in, missing the shot there. And Renegades have control of Banana for now, but a retake is very possible. Hardstyle is in position for the flashbang as well, over the stairs, but it seems that they will let them have a Banana for now. Renegades still playing their game. They know they have control of Banana. They'll put 4 on the A site, but now Hardstyle's going back. This flashbang goes over the roof. If you're playing the car position or something like that, even where JKS is standing, as you can see on the radar, he will be hit by the flashbang. So what is the purpose of this? Is this to take Banana? Is this to send more Renegades players back? They have to fear a B play, Renegades. They have to fear it after all this action, and Space Soldiers know that, but they haven't been so successful towards A. So do they go to B anyway? So many decisions to be made here by both teams.
Santaris once again the man, looking for the first frag, looking to create a space for his teammates to go in. Going deep now in towards the bomb site, looking for the first positions. Oh, that's a big one from Nifty. And Azza, very well done, trying to hold on with very limited weaponry. These weapons can perform these ranges. Paz, though, with a double in response. Nifty still on the box. They don't know that he's there. Major now finds him, but they are incredibly weak. It's up to Paz to stop overtime. He's got 34 points of health. How on earth is he going to pull this one off?
The bomb has been planted. The smoke is down to create some space. There's a Molotov. He goes through the smoke grenade. It may save him. He's so low. 34 HP. He's picked up a Molotov. There's the first play. Can he find a second? No! It's going to be overtime again. Renegades have to be sweating bullets at the moment. And he saw the nightmare scenario there. Hardstyle running onto the site with the bomb in his hands. They didn't know it was clear, but you can't blame him for it. But that could have been the difference. If he had his AK out, who the hell knows what happens?
Oh my god. My goodness gracious me, this is very tense. One of the worst things about these elimination matches, and something that we can't trivialize, is that whoever's on the worst end of this, it is heartbreaking. It's one of the worst things that you pour your heart and soul, all your time, and your identity as a human being is to play Counter-Strike at a professional level. So and that's what these players are playing for. I guarantee whoever comes off the worst in this matchup is going to be just straight out depressed for well over like
well, I don't know.
weeks.
I would say if it's Renegades, yes. If it's Space Soldiers, at this point you have to be proud of what you've been able to do, all things considered. All things considered. And I mean, we talked about everybody, we've talked about like managing Hardstyle and so on, but just what is the experience for him? He wasn't expecting to come and play in the major.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's not quite like when Threat stood in for NIP, way back when, because he hadn't touched the game in maybe a year as a player, but he has enormous experience as a professional.
Yeah.
and he had been playing CS:GO at a professional level like a year before that. So
yeah, and obviously his game sense is colossal.
Yeah, so there is that at least.
Not necessarily the case here.
And also he knew every lineup for every grenade as well, because he had to learn them all to teach his players what to do. So that's such a different situation to this.
Yeah. Well then, Hardstyle will start with the MAC-10 once again. So again, it's easier for him, and I mean, it's proven to be successful on multiple players here for Space Soldiers, but also it allows him to be a farm if needed in terms of guns for his team. Right then. Space Soldiers not contesting. I kind of did see that in my mind's eye. I'm like, okay, they've gone B so many times. Renegades are going to be convinced they're going to go to B, so they're going to go to A, and B's where they've had their success regardless, and they're not going to win a round on A. But they came pretty damn close.
It's smart because you condition the other team to have 3 players on B early too, so either way, you feel like Renegades have a strong opportunity here, especially now. Still will be laying down the damage, and there's not too much that can be done here. It's just such a strong setup against that smoke. I mean, what are you possibly going to do? It's just chaos now. Azza just pecking at them from behind, and that will be a graveyard top mid for Space Soldiers. And James, I mean, isn't it the case now that Renegade surely will just pull out here? You feel like Space Soldiers only have so much they can do with this situation.
Yeah, it's good to see Renegades mixing things up in overtime. I'm not sure that they played that boost set up in a single round, so that was at the back of Space Soldier's mind. Xantares, I think his teammate got dinked by the player on the roof, and then Xantares just fired the extra bullet or two to finish him off, which is awkward, but there we go. They kind of got stuck in that position and weren't able to get any further. Now, do they go back to Old Faithful, the B-bomb site? Probably not, because Major's on an AWP now. Double HEs to start things off on Banana. Xantares is by the logs. And Paz very quickly into the boiler position. Oh, he could get caught off actually, but Nifty choosing not to go for it. And he will hear the reload of Paz and know he's not next to the door anymore. Nifty will keep things quiet, but keep things close to top mid with the smoke down. Playing an angle like this, if there was a push from a T trying to get an opportunist frag, Nifty would be at an advantage. You see Azza jumping on double stack as Calyx is looking for something, looking for an opening.
So 1 minute to go, and this is a great spot for Renegades. They have a good portion of map control. They don't have Banana, but they have top mid, so that's always okay. If you don't have one, if you have the other, that's fine. It's when the T's can take both away from you, that's when things get a bit scary, but they actually concede top mid for the time, and we'll see that Space Soldiers will take over. And because Renegades now do not have Banana as well, there's a lot of opportunity here for Space Soldiers to push in, and the rotation from B will be slow. Space Soldiers now making the move forwards. Nifty not blind at all. There's a smoke. He's going to dart out for it though. That is devastating. Nifty finds two. There's no trade frag. Paz comes in late. Does take down Nifty, but has he done too much?
He's making steps on the short position, and Azza, they're all playing slightly weird angles, and it's working so far. Renegades, have they finally stabilized after heart attack situations in normal time?
Yeah. 2
from 2. And there's been no plants here for Space Soldiers. The money is low, but Hardstyle's got 6,500, which may be the saving grace, but they've got to find a round in this last round of the first half. 17 rounds for Renegades, 15 for Space Soldiers. We're looking at the first to 19 to stay in this major.
I mean, credit to Renegades, at least on the outside, they don't look like they'd be freaking out at any point, which obviously is very important. And they are quite experienced at this point as well, so that's... They definitely have the experience to have cultivated those qualities. If they win, I would love to hear that question asked, you know, like, were you guys freaking out in those last rounds? But we're not there yet. Space Soldiers still breathing, still on the server, still play to be had. Double Mag 10 here for Space Soldiers, and it's worked out before on this A-bomb side. Let's see if it will do so again. Flash out from Major. He's still trying to dodge the flash. He does so successfully, and he gives up a free one. Oh my goodness, Usillo is just going to take everyone out with the AK-47. Very well played by Renegades. And Space Soldiers, they're trying to keep it simple, but simple's not working right now.
That's the Usillo we know. Xantares almost walking to his team. Still alive for now. Never count him out until he's on the floor. 18 to 15. Renegades now with 3 match points. Surely this is it. It should not arguably have been this difficult, but they are so close to the line now.
One more round. One more round. That's all it takes. But Space Soldiers move on to the CT side, and obviously that seemingly that was an easier side for them. The T side kind of seemed, you know, fairly desperate here or there, and mostly everywhere, I suppose. But the CT side, you know, they had some more stability, and obviously we'll see them buy what they want. They've got an AWP on Paz. Do they take any risks? What is the call here? They've got to win 3 back-to-back CT rounds to stay in this one to secure another overtime at best. If they lose one round, it's over. But this is a great start from Paz. The aggression on the apartments. Good rifle support, tossing in the flash to make him safe.
Ding dong. Well, just a ding, not a dong just yet. Flashbang, and Xantares will fall off. They understand, they know they need to get themselves an early advantage, and Xantares will stand his ground with this M4. He's slowly moving back, but got to be careful in case someone has a superior angle. Playing around the smoke, trying to catch them off guard, but Renegades are retreating for the time being, at least from the banana position. Zantares getting curious, but Nifty's by the logs. There's a flashbang, and he could get completely caught off guard here. Does make him go down to trade frag? No, Zantares. Oh, that's got to be brutal. He really wants to have a part in this whole round, I'm sure. So important for his side. But he's gone. 4 players left for Space Soldiers. 4 players between Renegades and Survival as they start to move top mid. Arch smoked off. Paz in the arch itself. Hardstyle in the sights. And Major near the pit.
35 seconds to go. Shake around the corner there, and that's a very important frag. Hardstyle now on the bomb site with Paz. What can he do? Oh, he's so blind. He gets behind him though. Opportunity strikes there. He'll delay the plant. But unfortunately, there's no one to really capitalize on that. Calyx too far away, anchoring the B-bomb sites. But he has to go for it. This looks like it could be the round here where Renegades will be able to just breathe a huge sigh of relief. But can Calyx still ruin their day? No, he cannot. Nifty with the goods. 19-15. It took an overtime, but Renegades will not be eliminated. Will instead have to wave goodbye, unfortunately, to Space Soldiers.
Renegades get there.